Grandma Margaret lived in an old abandoned mansion on the outskirts of the city. Neighbors told terrible stories about her mysterious past and strange customs. Grandma Margaret always wore a black dress that seemed old and tattered, as if it had belonged to her since the beginning of time. Everyone who approached her house felt an invisible threat, as if the building itself radiated malice. One day, a young guy named Tom decided to test how scary the stories about Grandma Margaret were. He approached the house, ignoring the warnings of the neighbors, and knocked on the door. The door slowly opened, and before him stood an old woman with a distorted face and flickering eyes. "You shouldn't have come here," she hissed through her teeth. Tom felt paralyzed with fear, and he couldn't even move. Grandma Margaret approached him and whispered, "You will never leave this house. You will be my eternal prisoner." The next moment, Tom disappeared from sight as if he had never been there. Since then, no one has seen Tom, and Grandma Margaret's house became a place that people avoided. Neighbors heard strange sounds from inside, cries and groans, but no one dared to go inside. Legends of Grandma Margaret turned into tales of a terrible past, and no brave soul dared to disappear without a trace, let alone enter the mysterious house. But everyone who found themselves near the house in the dark of night heard the wind carrying the words, "You're next." Tom found himself inside a dark room filled with antique items and dust. He felt fear gripping his heart, but at the same time, he felt an invisible force compelling him to act. Grandma Margaret stood by the window, through which the faint light of the moon shone, giving her the appearance of a ghost. "You belong to me now," she whispered, approaching closer. Her voice sounded like an echo from the past, filling the room with unease. Tom desperately tried to break free from the shackles of fear, but all his efforts were in vain. He felt invisible shadows surrounding him, slowing his breath and robbing him of his freedom. Grandmother Margaret touched Tom's forehead, and he felt his thoughts slowly clouding. Strange images and memories illuminated his mind like a puzzle, forming in the most unpleasant dream. He realized that he couldn't resist a force more ancient and powerful than he could have ever imagined. Grandmother Margaret smiled, and her intimidating appearance softened, becoming more peaceful. "You will live here forever, as a part of this house, as my shadow," she uttered, with a tenderness infused with a grim promise. Tom plunged into the darkness of uncertainty, stripped of his past and future. And when the first rays of morning sunlight penetrated the abandoned mansion, there was no trace left of the young boy named Tom. His fate became another legend, which neighbors would now tell and scare children with, warning them against the boldness that leads into the unknown.